Well, hello, welcome to episode 147 of the Confident Live Marketing Show. We're talking about how you can reboot your live video strategy as we're approaching the end of 2021 and thinking about 2022. We need to start thinking about this. We should have actually started thinking about this quite a while ago, but I know a lot of us tend to leave things to the last minute. So we're going to be talking about how you can think about your strategy and your planning for next year. And I'm really interested in what you're going to do. I'm going to be sharing what I'm thinking of doing, what I'm going to be doing in 2022. But, sometimes this world of, running your own business can be quite a lonely business. And I've got a lot of peers and a lot of friends that I bounce ideas off. But I want to know from you what you're thinking of doing for 2022 when it comes to your live video strategy, because maybe things are not working quite as well as you would like, or maybe things have changed. A lot of things have changed, haven't they, in the last year and a bit. So this is something that I've been thinking a lot about. How important is live video for me moving into 2022? How is it changing? What am I going to do? What am I going to do that's the same? That's what I'm going to be talking about next year. I'd love to know from you if you have just joined watching live. Let me know where in the world you are watching from. Do not be shy. Let me know where you're from. And if you're watching the replay, just put hashtag replay in the comments. I'd love to know if you are watching there. But I think it's time to get on with the show. This show, as always, it's a live show, but I repurposed this into a podcast. And that's one of I'm going to talk about this in the show, but there are two important things that I don't think are ever going to change for me. First of all is the power of turning your live shows into a content repurposing engine, because this turns into a podcast, into a blog post, loads of stuff like that. But it's also community and audience building as well because of the live element. I love to connect with my audience and for you to ask questions and for us to have a bit of fun as well. So I think those are the two things that I'm going to be focusing on next year. And I think you should too. But anyway, it's time to get on with the show. Let's press the button and get on with recording for the podcast. Hello and welcome to episode 147 of the Confident Live Marketing Show. In today's show, I'm going to be sharing how you can reboot your live video strategy. In fact, why you should be thinking about rebooting your live video strategy, whether you're watching this at the end of 2021 or listening to this in 2022. It's time to get on with that. Well, let's get on with the show now.
Welcome to the Confident Live Marketing Show with Ian Anderson Gray.
Helping you level up your impact, authority, and profits through the power of confident live video.
Optimize your mindset and communication and increase your confidence in front of the camera.
Get confident with the tech and gear.
And get confident with the content and marketing.
Together, we can go live!
Well, hello. Welcome to the Confident Live Marketing Show. This is the show that helps you level up your impact, authority, and profits through the power of confident live video. Now, we've got some fabulous people watching live. And of course, if you're listening to the podcast, welcome. I really appreciate you plugging me into your ears every week. And of course, if you haven't come across my podcast, you need to go to iag.me/podcast and you can follow it, you can listen to it, you can subscribe to it, whatever you like. I would really appreciate that. We've got Katie Simpson watching in the house. Katie, it's always good to see you. I hope you're doing really well. I hope you're enjoying the few weeks running up to Christmas. Yes, we are recording this in December 2021. If you're listening to the podcast, it's probably about March because I'm too organized. But great to see you, Katie, watching from Penn, Buckinghamshire, England. Great to see you. And we've got Hayley Gummersole watching on Facebook. So Katie's on YouTube, Hayley's on Facebook, and you're saying, I'm going to be using more training on my iPad and drawing out what I'm teaching and talking about. Awesome. Let me know a little bit more about what you're thinking about doing. And is live video going to be part of your strategy? Maybe, maybe not. Let me know, Hayley. Let's get on with the show. I think today's show is going to be a little bit shorter than normal because what I've got to say really is very simple. I'm going to talk about some of the changes, I think, and why we need to be thinking about our strategy, some of the things that are going to stay the same, and then what I'm going to be doing differently. But I'd love to hear from you. What are you thinking of doing as we focus on the future? The first thing I think is always really important, and it's the kind of bit that a lot of us don't do, myself included. I have to force myself to do this. The first thing you have to do is ask questions. Ask the right questions, of course, and what should your live video strategy be in 2022, in 2023? Should we still be embracing live video? Or should we be focusing on other things? Live video, doing live video for live video's sake has never been a good strategy. And doing live video because I say you should, or other consultants out there say you should, is not a good strategy, because everyone's situation, everyone's business is different. So you have to think about the best strategy for you. And I'm going to talk about the best strategy for me. I can't talk specifically for you, but I'm hoping that from what I'm talking about, you'll gain a little bit of insight into what you should be doing as you're moving forward. So that's the first thing. Live video for live video's sake has never been a good strategy. And just focusing, so if your marketing is just focusing on live video on its own, and there's nothing else that's underpinning it or moving from that, then again, that's not going to be a good strategy, because live video on its own has changed. It might have worked 3 or 4 years ago. I'm still not sure it would have done on its own, but certainly now you need to think about a more holistic approach when it comes to your marketing. Looking back at the comments, Katie is saying, I'm sitting by a roaring fire and looking at the Christmas tree. Oh, that's lovely. We don't have our Christmas tree up yet. We're going to sort that out on tomorrow, I think. I'm going to buy it tomorrow, and then we're going to hopefully get it up over the weekend. But the roaring fire, that sounds really nice. Actually, I've got some nice hue light bulbs in my office, and I put them onto a nice fire effect earlier because I was just wanting to chill out. So, but it's nothing quite like the real thing. We've got MC Lito is in the house. Great to see you. I haven't seen you for ages. I hope you're doing really well. Hello and long time no see. I'd love to know what you're going to be doing in 2022. And Katie is showing, I love helping people through live video trainings. Love it. I'm going to try to hone my repurposing workflow next year. And you've reminded me something, Katie. That is definitely one thing that I actually forgot to add it to my list, so I'm going to add it in. Thank you, Katie. So, number 2 is another big question. Why live video? So, live video as part of your content strategy, I think, is smart. It shouldn't be the only thing in your content strategy. But I came up with 2, and Katie's reminded me of the 3rd. So the first one that you should think about is, or reason why you should be doing live video, is community building. So you can create community building shows. Now, there are quite a few people that do this. I combine my community building shows with my other content, which I'll talk about in a minute. But something I'm thinking about for next year is doing purely, I will do this as well, but to create shows that are purely focused on building community. So not on repurposing at all. And yeah, I think that's the first thing you should think about. The second great reason for embracing live is that it's a perfect content repurposing engine. Because it's not going to be perfect, I've already stumbled over my words today. It doesn't matter, because I'm creating this content. I prepared earlier. I'm going to make mistakes, but this is the perfect medium to then repurpose into video snippets, into a podcast, into other types of content. So it allows you to be really consistent with your content and turn up and be visible. It also allows you to do my 3rd thing that I think is important, which is to turn up and be real and be raw. And people really want that. Now, this is maybe separate to creating pillar content, which what this is hopefully evergreen, valuable content that I can repurpose for later, and it's valuable to you watching live or the replay or the podcast. But I also try in these shows to be real, be raw, to talk about the times when things aren't going quite so well so that we can all learn a lesson from that. But sometimes I think, particularly with Instagram Live is a great platform for this, is just turning up, being real, and talking about the bits in your business that aren't going quite so well. It's kind of being vulnerable in a sense. So that's the third thing. So community building shows, content repurposing shows, raw and real type shows. And then the thing that Katie reminded me of course, are those focusing on the groups and training. And it's almost like a webinar. This is similar to the pillar content thing and the content repurposing engine, but you're purely doing this to either a free community that you have or a paid community that you have. This could be in a Facebook group, or an unlisted YouTube video, or on LinkedIn, or some other way that you are broadcasting this to your community. So I love that, Katie. Thank you for reminding me about that. MC Lito says, for me personally, live streaming has been so great for building my community. You see, there's a bit of a theme going on here, and providing a place for people to come back every week. This is actually really important, isn't it? Because I think one thing we've really realized over the last 18 months is that we need each other. You know, I'm an introvert. I do need to have some time on my own, but I also realize that I need people, and I feel I need to belong, and I want to be part of a community. I want to have my own community, but I also want to be part of other communities as well. And you don't need to be a big name for this. You don't need to have a massive community. It can be a very small, intimate group of people. But live video is a great way to build that community because people feel they can get to know you a lot more and they can ask you questions. And so I love that. And MC Lisa also said, my goal is to finally launch the podcast in early 2022. Thanks for your help. Well, if I could be of any more help to you with getting you over the line, please let me know, because that's what I'm here for. I'd love to help you with that. And let me know more about the podcast goals, because sometimes we could do it on our own, but sometimes we just need that extra push from other people. Okay, so number 2 was why live video? That's the question. The third thing is, what do you want to achieve? So I think you need to work out what it is that you want to achieve. How does live video fit into your whole strategy, into your business strategy? So often, and I'm going to hold my hand up and say that this has been an issue for me. We focus on the content and we forget, for most of us, I know not all of you who are watching or listening have a business, but those of us who have a business, live video is part of that business strategy and that content strategy. What is it ultimately that you want to do? Katie, you say you love helping people. You want to help people. That's what I want to do. I want to help and encourage people through my business. Well, how do I do that? I can create trainings, I can create courses, I can offer consultancy and coaching and group masterminds. And in fact, I've got one that is happening in 2022, and I'm going to tell you more about that another time. I'm very excited about it. But if you don't have your business products and services planned for the next year, then as my friend Janet Murray says, you haven't got a content problem, you've got a business problem. I love that, because it's kind of so obvious when you say it, but so often we focus on the content first and the business second, and it has to be the other way round. So in your year, are there times when you're going to be launching something new? Well, then in the run up to that, create some content that's going to point towards that. Live video works perfectly with this, because you can talk about that product, talk about that service, and answer people's questions. Now, they might not be asking you those questions live, but you can still answer the kinds of questions that your audience will be asking, and you can answer those on your live video and then point people to that for later. Why not do that? So Katie totally agrees with about the community building through live video. It's so true. And we've got a lovely community here. I mean, this is what I don't do this, just to create content. I mean, yes, I want to create content, but ultimately I want to build a community of people who love the content and enjoy what enjoy the way I deliver it. But ultimately, it's not about me. It's about how the communities, really good communities, end up running themselves because of the people within them. So if you are attracting the right kind of people, those communities will just grow and build by themselves. Okay, the next one is sometimes you don't need to... Oh dear, my video has gone. That's really annoying. This is always happens to me. You're just going to have to wait. I have to wait 30 seconds. This has not actually happened in a live show before, but let's just reboot this now. That's a good reminder that live video is not about being perfect and things go wrong. And actually, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter when things go wrong because, like, it just shows that you're human and that stuff happens. Anyway, I'm back. You can see me. So you've got two options. You either kind of like completely get rid of everything and you start again, or you can tweak. Sometimes you don't have to rebuild things. You can tweak things. So sometimes, I want to say this, you know, I think this is really important. Sometimes tweaking is fine. So you don't have to completely rebuild things. Sometimes you just have a look and think, okay, I'm not doing enough community shows. So everything else that I'm doing is fine, but I need to add this into the mix. Or maybe I need to make my shows shorter or longer. Maybe I don't need to broadcast to LinkedIn Live anymore. I need to be focusing on this other platform. So sometimes tweaking is fine. And I want to just encourage you with that because I am going to be talking about pressing the nuclear button in a minute. Let's have a look. Valley P is here saying, you always share the best information. Great to see you again. Oh, it's Valerie Pinkston. Great to see you, Valerie. I didn't recognize your face on YouTube. You've changed your avatar. It's always great to see you. Hope you're doing really well. Watching on YouTube. And yes, great frozen face. That's what happens when your camera decides to just die on me. I think I need to upgrade my camera next year. And MC Lisa says, I did my first cooking stream last week. And I didn't know you did this kind of thing. Why did I want to see this? What were you cooking? And glitch. I remembered your words about that and handled it quite well. Yeah, it just, you know, these things happen. You're making me hungry now. I don't know what you were cooking, but brings me on to number 5. Sometimes, and this is kind of where I am, and okay, I'm going to say it. Sometimes you just need to reboot and rebuild from the ground up. Now, that is kind of what I'm doing, but not quite. I'm kind of somewhere in between tweaking and rebuilding or rebooting. And I'm the kind of character that sometimes I just need to start again. I just need to clear everything away, think things through, and just remind myself why I'm doing what I'm doing. Now, don't worry, I'm not getting rid of the Confident Live Marketing Show. I'm having a think about how I want to do that. And of course, if you are a regular watcher and listener to this show, I've got a survey. If you go to confident.live/survey, that's confident.live/survey, I'm really interested to know your thoughts about this show, the podcast and the live show, and how I can make it better. So I want to reboot, and here are my thoughts of where I am, and I'd love to know what you think and whether you resonate with any of these things. So the first thing is multi-streaming. Multi-streaming for multi-streaming's sake is not a good idea. I feel like a stuck record here. I'm a big fan of Restream and other live streaming tools, other multi-streaming tools. I think they're great. But just because it has that feature doesn't mean you should just go live everywhere all the time. I'm still going to be multi-streaming, but I'm going to be reducing the number of channels that I multi-stream to in 2022 because community is really important. And I want to do a better job with a fewer number of channels. And for me, I'm going to talk to you about those channels in a little bit, but I'm going to be reducing the number of channels I'm going to be multi-streaming to. For this show, I will continue doing that to Facebook. It's interesting. So a number of you are watching on Facebook. So MC Lito is watching. I don't know which channel you're watching on, but you're watching on Facebook. But YouTube is going to be a big thing for me in 2022. LinkedIn, I know it should be. I don't have a lot of love for LinkedIn at the moment, but the thing is, I know that my corporate clients or potential corporate clients are on LinkedIn, and so yeah, LinkedIn. I'm thinking about that one, but that is a channel that I want to be focusing on next year, definitely. And it's kind of weird with LinkedIn because I was one of the first people to get LinkedIn Live. I think there was maybe, I might have this wrong, but I feel there were like 12 people in the world that initially had it in the initial beta or beta. And then I got in just after that. So it was about March 2019, 2020. I forget. It's whenever it was. So I want to use LinkedIn, but anyway, and Twitter. I will broadcast to Twitter. But I think for me, Twitter and Facebook are less important for me. That's my feeling. And so I want to focus on YouTube and LinkedIn. And for me, I'm going to be focusing on, I will be getting a little bit more time because I'm going to be, my show for Restream is stopping next week. And so I'll have an opening. And I really want to focus on Amazon Live. Amazon Live is a big thing that I want to, I should have been doing this before, but I just haven't had the time. So Amazon Live and maybe Instagram Lives. I don't know. Would you be interested in me going live on Instagram? That is secondary. So for me, it's focusing on YouTube and LinkedIn, definitely Amazon Live. Instagram Lives, maybe. MC Lito says, yes, I cooked some rice porridge and gyoza. Oh, yummy, yum. I always wanted to do a cooking stream, and it was kind of last minute. You know, did you steam the gyozas? Because that's kind of like steaming. And I know I'm kind of joking, but I remember I actually put on Clubhouse that I was a Confident Live steamer instead of a Confident Live streamer. And that always made me laugh. And I thought, yeah, you could do some streaming of steaming. Valerie says, I like that you will be reducing the channels. I was watching on Facebook, but then came to YouTube because I wanted to see the community. Yeah, I think community is important. And I know Restream does give you push over the comments from other channels, but I think you want to be where the community is, don't you? Absolutely. And MC Lito says, I'm on the same idea with multi-streaming. Was multi-streaming to 2 to 3 places, but really want to focus more on YouTube for more podcast streams, Twitch for casual hangout streams, and then advertise the links on my Facebook. Great thinking. I like that. I like that. So I think it's being more intentional and focusing on the community. I'm not against multi-streaming. Don't get me wrong. And let's have a look here. Somebody watching in a group, unfortunately, I can't see who you are. If you want me to see your name, go to confident.live/show my name. That's confident.live/show my name. But anyway, it's a great question. How have you found LinkedIn? I have just received my invitation after 5 applications and 1 year of waiting. Just can't quite get fired up after all this time. And that's interesting because I think LinkedIn, in a sense, have shot themselves in the foot here because there was so much excitement at the start. And now, you know, I used to have a lot of engagement and a lot of views on LinkedIn. Loads and loads. I would get like 80 people watching me live plus on LinkedIn right at the start. Now, I think we've got 1 or 2 people on LinkedIn. And so LinkedIn is absolutely going to be part of my strategy moving forwards. But with LinkedIn, I think you need to be focused, you shouldn't just be doing LinkedIn lives. So at the moment, I'm just kind of doing LinkedIn lives and I'm not really engaged or posting anything else on LinkedIn. That's not a good strategy. And I think you need to, wherever you go live, you need to be posting other stuff and you need to have a home there. Don't just broadcast live videos. And so, yeah, I totally get you. And Alec, thank you so much. So Alec is watching on LinkedIn. Yes, we've got 1 LinkedIn viewer. LinkedIn is where I hang out. Don't forget us. And absolutely, Alec, you know, at the moment, I can't get overly excited about LinkedIn, but I would be if I spent time with you and with my community on LinkedIn. And so I know that I need to focus on building my community on LinkedIn and get excited about it. And I think I'm going to get excited about it if I reduce the amount of overwhelm that I have because at the moment I'm broadcasting everywhere and you just can't be everywhere. So reducing the number of places you're living in and focusing on is going to help with that. So Alec, don't worry, LinkedIn is absolutely going to be one of those places I'm going to be hanging out and streaming to. And MC Lito says, yes, we we steamed and streamed the gyoza. Am I pronouncing that right? I just remember having that. I think I had it in Poland. And Alex says, what about Amazon? Yeah, so I have mentioned Amazon Live, and that's absolutely going to be a big focus for me. Amazon Live is live shopping, and because I talk a lot about gear and tools, it's the perfect thing. I think my strategy though for Amazon Live, just briefly on Amazon Live, is you can multi-stream it. So I could multi-stream this show onto Amazon Live, but Amazon Live is just very different. It's focusing on products and shopping. And Amazon Live, I get the impression they don't really want you to broadcast kind of regular content there. They want you to be totally focused on the products. And to be successful on there, I think you need to do a dedicated show. I have not had the bandwidth for that because I love live video, but I find it pretty tiring. And also for me, being in the UK, Amazon Lives will need to be at a time that my US audience are around, because currently Amazon Live is Amazon.com only. It's US based only. So yeah, that's something I'm going to be focusing on. And Alex says, if you turn on creator mode in LinkedIn, then you are automatically given LinkedIn Live. Is that true? I did not know that. Well, there you go. I've already got creator mode on, but that's news to me. I thought you still had to reply. Thank you, Alec. If you do you have a link to an article on that I can link to, because that's actually really important news that I want to share with my community. So thank you, Alec. You learn something every day. And it's Pascal. Thank you, Pascal. Thank you for your thoughts on that. And it's great to see you. Hope you're doing really well. It's been a while since I've seen you. We need to catch up sometime. So the next thing I think is really important, and this is not primarily a live thing, but I think we all need to be clearer about what we offer. I know I do. This is one of my biggest issues in my business, I think, is I'm not as clear as I should be in terms of what I offer. So I'm going to be planning my launches and my products first, and then build my content around that. That's what I've been talking about. So if you have products, services, you need to be really clear about that on your website, and then it makes it a lot easier then to talk about those on your live shows and then your other content. And of course, if you have a course or a product coming out, say in April 2022, then in the run up to that launch, you can then talk about that on your live shows and ask questions and answer questions as well. So yeah. Alex says, since 2 weeks ago, that was the case. Well, thank you for that. And thank you for you said you're going to send me a DM. I really appreciate that. MC Lita says, about community, I've been finding that focusing on being engaging and making people feel welcome really helps with return viewers and view time on YouTube. Are you talking there about live, or are you talking about pre-recorded video? I'm just really interested in the difference there. But yes, discoverability is still a challenge, but when people do stumble upon a live, I think, so we are talking about live, they usually become quite loyal. And so I agree. And that brings me on quite nicely to what I want to talk about next, which for me is focusing on a new strategy on YouTube. So I've done loads of lives on YouTube. I've talked about this before, but I want to be publishing at least one pre-recorded video on YouTube every single week in 2022. So if you're listening to the podcast, hopefully, if you go to my YouTube channel, if you go to confident.live/YouTube, that's confident.live/YouTube, then you should be seeing a lot of pre-recorded videos. And my aim is to get monetized in the first quarter of 2022, not primarily because I need to be monetized, but because it's a measure of success and that I am reaching the right kind of people, because I'm interested in watch time and I'm interested in growing my channel. So I think the more people that will be watching, the people that will be watching my pre-recorded videos will join my community, join my tribe, and then they're more likely to watch my live shows on YouTube. So I think the focus for me on YouTube is pre-recorded video. And part of that can be repurposed for my live shows, but some of it is dedicated content as well. And that's harder work. But thankfully, I found a way of working, a process, finally, that works for me. And so that is what I want to do on that. Definitely. And yeah, MC Lito, you were talking about live. That's great. Alec is saying, so update, creator mode now offers access to LinkedIn Live and newsletters. Awesome. Yeah, I'm going to be, so I'm going to be playing around with the newsletter on LinkedIn. So it's a new service. So if you switch on creator mode on LinkedIn, and that's fairly easy to do. Just search for LinkedIn creator mode. According to Alec, you'll now get LinkedIn Live, which is awesome. And you also get the newsletter service. I'm playing around with the newsletter service. And that brings me on to the next thing, which is my newsletter is absolutely non-negotiable. In the same way as my podcast coming out every Friday is non-negotiable, my newsletter is non-negotiable. It's coming out every Friday. If you haven't subscribed to my newsletter, all you need to do is go to, I forget all these things. Is it iag.me/newsletter? Let's just check it. Yeah, it is iag.me/newsletter. If you want to subscribe, it's completely free. It comes out every Friday. It will talk about my podcast, my live show, but also share some thoughts and thought of the week, and also some other things to do with like live news and all this kind of stuff and tips. So my newsletter is non-negotiable. I'm also going to be looking at doing community lives. I'm not quite sure where that will be yet. I'm thinking about it. I'll be interested to know from you, where would those be? But this is just me hanging out with you, having some fun. It's going to be, the production level will be far less glamoury. Is that a word? Glamorous? It's just me hanging out with you and answering questions and having fun. So I'm not sure how that's going to be, but that's what I'm going to be focusing on. And I want to do more raw lives and raw podcasts. I experimented with that a few weeks ago. I did just a 10-15 minute thing just in front of in front of a microphone, just talking about what was on my mind, and I really enjoyed it. So there was no video there; it was just me in front of the microphone, and I want to do more of those. I'm finding it a struggle fitting it into my schedule at the moment, but it's something I want to do. And I want to do more raw lives as well, because I don't know about you, but I love it when people open up and I can find a little bit more about the human behind the creator. You know, there's some amazing creators out there that I watch and I love, but I feel they're kind of holding back, and I don't really know them that well. I'm almost seeing this facade, and, you know, we can't be real and raw all the time. Sometimes, like the last 10 days, to be quite frank, have been really hard for me. The other day had a bit of a meltdown. It's been tough. And I don't feel it's the right time at the moment to kind of share those things. Sometimes if you can be too raw. But I do think sharing those moments when things aren't going quite so well is really important and really helpful, and shows the more human side of you. And if you're working with clients on a consulting coaching basis, then I think people want to see that. I think people want to see that side of things. So yeah, I want to do more of that next year. I need to think about how that's all going to work. So Joanne, is it Joanne Sweeney here saying, hi Ian, that's a good strategy. That's also my approach. Also, Joanne, great to see you, Joanne. Hope you're doing well. So all these people that I just miss. I miss you, Joanne. You know, I miss you, Pascal. Haven't spoken to you in ages. I'm hoping in 2022 we can hang out and we can, just talk to each other. We've got somebody watching on D Live. You see, multi-streaming. It does occasionally work. I don't know what. There's some like weird kind of like what do you call them? Emojis happening there. And MC Lita saying, I'm in the same boat about getting to know the other creators, get to know their story. Absolutely. So talking about how they got to where they got to today. And also the other thing I feel really passionate about, I'm getting on my soapbox now, is I've been here, and I wonder whether you have. Like, sometimes you feel like giving up and things aren't going well. And you look at all these creators out there and they've all got these so supposedly perfect lives. They've got everything sorted. And it's not, and you just want a little bit of encouragement. You know, if I give that impression that my life is perfect, I'm sorry, because it's not true. But I have learnt a lot. I have had so many struggles to get to where I am today. I've just been thinking about this recently. You know, the last 10 years, I've been running my business for 10 years. It's been a long, hard slog. And I think I should be sharing more of that story with you because I want to encourage you. If you're in a difficult place, if you have been struggling financially, if you have been struggling with self-doubt and all these things, I get it because I've been there. In fact, I still struggle sometimes with self-doubt. But I want to help you. I want us to help each other. So the raw side of things really, really helps. But yes, boundaries are important, though. Don't just, you see, I think the danger here is that you just dump all the negative stuff on your audience. And that's not good. There are certain things that might be happening in your life that, quite frankly, I think you should keep with your close friends. It's because there have been situations when creators have shared things online on their live shows that really I feel uncomfortable. You know, I feel sorry for them for going through what they're going through, but really I don't kind of need to know that. So yeah, boundaries are important. Definitely agree. Oh, thank you, Joanne. I miss you too, definitely. So now, Alec, you're coming up with the goods today. I love what you're saying here. I have a new friend for Christmas, Jarvis. So going to see if he can help me with content creation. Have you tried Jarvis? So Jarvis is, it's like AI content. It's like artificial intelligence that will allow you to create content. So you basically tell Jarvis what you want to create, and you could give it some stuff. So it could be create an article on these 5 points. So you give Jarvis these 5 points, and then it will create it. In answer to your question, Alec, no, I haven't. I've dabbled with it, but I just haven't had the headspace. I find personally that at the moment, Jarvis, the UI is just a bit overwhelming, and I haven't really got my head around it. I need to think about the ways that I want to use it, and it will be helpful. But it absolutely is part of my thinking, my strategy. It's part of. It's on my list of things to look at. Let's put it that way. On my list of things to look at. So I definitely want to. Think about that. And Pascal says, "So great to hear about your future plans. Thanks for being so open and generous." It's my pleasure, but it's kind of who I am. Thank you, Otterox. I'm not quite sure. You're putting all these there's a toad there. But yes, Jarvis, thank you. Thank you, Otterox, for joining me on D Live. It's great to see you. So I think that's basically all I wanted to share today about my live strategy. Live is not my strategy. Live is part of my strategy. In many ways, live is it's the thing that allows me to do so many things. It allows me to build and grow my community. It allows me to create content that I can then repurpose for everywhere else. It allows me to be who I am, to be real and raw. So in some ways, live video is less important in 2022, but in truth, it's actually more important in 2022 more than ever, because I want to invest in those things. Yes, there are other things that I want to invest in. I want to invest in my newsletter, in my YouTube channel, but live is going to allow me to do all of that too. So thank you, Alec, for your contributions, your thoughts on all of that. Thank you so much, Katie. Thank you, MC Lito and Joanne and everyone else. I've probably forgotten somebody because my brain has gone to mush. But just to let you know, as we finish next week, or next Tuesday or next Friday, there's going to be a show. I'm going to be doing a show twice per week up until Christmas. So let me tell you what next week is going to be. It's going to be, what about that? It's going to be about community-based live streams. We're going to be talking about that. That's exciting. That's next Tuesday or next Friday if you're listening to the podcast. The podcast will be going every Friday all the way through Christmas and New Year, of course. But the live show, I will be having a break. Just to let you know that on Tuesday, December the 20... No, that's not Tuesday. It is Thursday, the 23rd of December, we're going to be doing a Christmas special. And that is purely a community show. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that nearer the time. But I hope you could join me. We're going to have some fun. Maybe I think we'll have a giveaway as well. So there'll be some merch you'll be able to get. And we might even do some pizza and things like that as well. Thank you, Valerie. It's been great to see you. I haven't spoken to you in ages. It was so good to have you as part of the Launch Your Live course. So great talk today, Ian. I definitely resonate with what you're saying today. Thank you. And Katie is saying, woohoo, Christmas special. Absolutely. And then after that, I'm going to basically just stop for a week and a half, 2 weeks, and just completely switch off. We all need a bit of that. Thank you so much, Otto Rocks. Great to see you. And thank you so much for watching on D-Live. Well, that is it for this week. Just so a reminder, do check out my podcast at iag.me/podcast, the newsletter at iag.me/newsletter. And I think that'll do for now. But I will see you soon. And until next time, I encourage you to level up your impact, authority, and profits through the power of Confident Live Video. See you soon. Bye.
Thanks for watching the Confident Live Marketing Show with Ian Anderson Gray.
Make sure you subscribe at iag.me/podcast so you can continue to level up your impact, authority, and profits through the power of live video.
And until next time,
Toodaloo.